All right, the FBI and EPA want to know why cyber attackers have recently hit public water systems in at least 7 states. Now, investigators believe Iran could have done it, but there is no proof. Officials in Michigan and Minnesota say their water systems are operating safely after attacks. CBS News cybersecurity expert and analyst Chris Krebs joins us now. Good morning, Chris. Always good to have you. Let's start broad here. I think a lot of people hear cyber attacks on a water system. It feels very concerning. Specifically, what did the hackers do and how?
So about a week ago, it looks like external attackers, kind of looks like Iran, but we'll come back to that. They were able to log into controllers that sit inside water facilities. And these are the equipment that control the pumps that turn on water, turn off water. And these, unfortunately, seem to have been connected to the internet. It is not a good practice to connect these controllers, these PLCs, to the internet. And it's also apparent that these external attackers were able to use default passwords, the password that comes in the manual for the device, to log into the device and lock them up. So it's not a terribly sophisticated attack. It is an attack that we've seen the Iranians in particular launch several times, including here in Pennsylvania in 2023, as well as throughout Israel during COVID 2020.
You know, Chris, Kelly mentioned it. You hear cyber attack on our water and everyone's like, whoa. So people at home are probably sitting there wondering this morning, number one, in the real world, how does this affect me? And how worried should we be about our water supply?
Well, it is absolutely one of those headlines that grabs your attention. However, it does not appear to be a safety event in any of the affected systems. Fortunately, the operators were able to detect, because the systems were locked up. They were turned off effectively. They were able to detect and make the quick changes. In some cases, yes, there were boil water advisories, but those were precautionary, I believe. There was no contamination. There was no chemical adjustments or anything of that nature. They got on it quickly. They were able to reset and get them back up and running. But it is just one more reminder that so many aspects of our daily lives are connected to the internet, and there are bad people out there that want to do bad things to us here in the States.
Speaking of those bad people, Chris, your former agency, CISA, actually indicated that there were already foreign adversaries that were pre-positioning themselves within these critical infrastructures. But my question, actually, beyond the human intel, has to do with artificial intelligence. As that becomes more prevalent, are we at all prepared to deal with the kind of risks that are inherent?
Well, I think that's a great point, Lad. Look, this attack is a very basic attack we're seeing on the water systems. So there's a broad spectrum of very, very basic credential logins, all the way to these much more sophisticated, advanced, machine-powered, AI-powered attacks. And so there are a whole host of things that risk managers in cybersecurity are dealing with on a daily basis. But you can't forget the basics. Keep your passwords updated, use multi-factor authentication. Everyone should be doing that on their critical accounts, from banking to their emails. But then you also have to think about the AI part. And there's a lot going on in the policy space here in Washington, D.C. And I think there's a lot of room left to run in the conversation.
And really quickly, Chris, I mean, what do federal and state authorities need to do to prevent these kinds of things, not just with water, but other things like electrical systems?
Yeah, well, you got to take a hard look at any of those systems that are connected to the internet. Should they be connected? If not, get them offline. And also make sure that you're not running default passwords on anything, particularly, again, if it's connected to the internet, because you know what? There are thousands and thousands of bad guys out there that are scanning the internet every single day looking for these devices that are connected. But we need the federal government in the fight. My agency that I ran, CISA, it's been cut 30-some-odd% from a personnel perspective, lots of budget. We need those that money restored, those personnel restored. We need to get grant funding out to the states so they can be on the lookout for Iranian hackers, for Chinese, Russians, anybody else.
Chris Krebs, thank you so much. So much good information there. All right.